And welcome to a new episode of the Movie Dawgs Show here, of course, on the Movie Dawgs Channel. This is a very special episode. I got a very special guest here with me today. Today I've got, he is the host and creator of Pop Culture Corner here on YouTube. On an awesome show, absolutely awesome show. Him and his guys there are they just blow it away. And I told him some time ago that they picked up the ball that got dropped by many guys in the internet movie community. I want you guys also, I'm going to try to get the description down below on their links and the best I can when this episode airs. But I want to introduce Ty Roberts. Ty, how you doing, man?
Oh man, happy to be here, man. Happy to be here. It's been a while trying to work it out, but could be, worked out. The stars aligned today.
Finally, yeah.
I know the topic is something I'm passionate about, so I'm excited.
Well, real quickly and everything, why don't you go ahead and let everybody know who may not be familiar with your channel and everything that are subscribers to my channel. Go ahead and tell them a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get right onto it, man.
All right. So, so as the Movie Dog told you, I'm the creator of the Pop Culture Corner. We're relatively young still, but taking some big strides. One of my favorite things, of all time is movies and film and television. I went to school for it, and I always thought that I would have a career in film and television, but it didn't work out that way. And I always ask myself, Ty, what is it that you like to do? Like, what is it that you want to do with the rest of your life? And I knew I didn't want to work for somebody else, or I knew I didn't want to work at a desk for like a 9 to 5 bank is what I did a couple months ago, and it always came back to film and television, and we had this great idea, or I had this great idea to talk about it, and because I felt that the market didn't have what I was looking for, so I was like, all right, well, I'll go and create what I'm looking for, and I've had so much fun doing it, and the podcast, I've met so many people, you yourself included, and we have so much fun, and definitely, we partner now with one of the largest theater chains in the country. We've had on some fun actors and actresses and singers and people like the head editor of Marvel, villains from Justice League. Like, it's just been so fun and such a crazy ride, and I'm truly blessed, I suppose. And one of my favorite things that you did, one of my favorite compliments is you said we picked up the ball that Collider dropped specifically. So
yeah,
that comment still to this day makes me happy.
I mean,
because that was the inspiration for all of it. I felt like there's these shows that you kind of went to for these things, and along the way it just got too saturated.
Yeah, that and they got a little too corporate for my taste.
Very, very corporate. I don't remember, but John Campia started with AMC Talk.
Yeah.
And then it turned into Collider. And once it turned into Collider, something was different. And then from there, it took a direction that maybe I wouldn't like. I can't discredit him. He's still a great guy. And
yeah.
He knows stuff, but I just don't like where the show went.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same thing here. That kind of influenced me. When I started watching that, it filled that void that was left between my brother and I. My brother and I were big movie buffs. We made our own movies. We rented them out in the local video stores back in the late '90s, and and then at the time that my brother died, we were working on what would have been our final project, and sadly, it's never got finished because my brother did all the editing. And I was the director, I directed the actors and stuff, but I have to say, he when it came to movies and everything, my mom and dad, they met at a drive-in where they were working. And my dad was part of that union of when the guys that were the guys that ran the film projectors, they were in a union. And my dad was very knowledgeable. He was, and I've seen the certificates, he was one of the most qualified man to run a projector in this part of the country. You know, he can go into any theater that was a union run. The projector was union run. Go in and say, "You're doing this wrong," or, you know, "Hey, your tape's about to break," and he would notice it like within a heartbeat of a second. You know, when it comes to the next frame of the film and everything, he was just really great at it. I know it kind of broke his heart when all that union stuff started going away, and when multiplexes and corporations got more in control of the industry itself. But that's the thing that I wanted to talk about is you know, the favorite moments in movies and movie memories. That's what the subject matter for this episode is. I'll say it right here and right now. Movie theaters, they're awesome. Being in a movie theater is awesome. I love it. It's just, you know, just the excitement that a crowd can give, you know, and those moments in movies that generate those, you know, it can be like the start of a film, like when it comes to Raging Bull, the way that movie started. You know, with the opening credits, you know, you got De Niro's, you know, De Niro, you know, dancing in that boxing ring, and you got the music going, and you got the credits going at the same time. You know, Scorsese set the mood that way. You know, he didn't have to set it right away with the dialogue. He set it with the mood of the credits, and you know what this movie was going to be about. You know, there's just so much iconic scenes here in movies, and you know, it was just, I don't know, you know, the multiplexes, you know, kind of, in a way, kind of took it away, the intimacy, when it came to, like, you know, the theaters that had just the one auditorium, but still, nonetheless, I mean, going out there in front of a movie theater, and you seen that big marquee right there in the beginning of the movie, where, you know, it's got the name of the actors in bold white lights or black lights, white background, and then you got the title of the movie. It's just, you know, it's something special that a lot of people, it's sad that a lot of people don't understand the importance of, or the magnitude. They take it for granted nowadays. I mean,
yeah, and that's something about the pandemic that truly, like, breaks my heart is the loss of that memory and the loss of that community experience that is going to the cinema for these. It doesn't matter if it's a big bunch. The argument I hear the most is, well, if it's not really a big budget movie, then, or if it's not one of these like Avengers films, then I don't really need to see it in the movie theater, do I? I can just wait for a video on demand or whatever it may be at home. And I'm really against that for so many different reasons. I mean, when you go to a movie theater and see even a comedy, there's something electric about when the crowd is laughing at the same time at a certain scene, or when you see a horror movie and you get that creepy, eerie feeling, and then, well, you know, a jump scare happens or something happens, and the theater reacts together, and there's something communal about that experience, and you know, we've lost it. You know, we've seen even with these movies that have come out recently, like Godzilla vs. Kong.
yeah.
Got a dual theatrical release, as well as on HBO Max. Mortal Kombat. And we've seen the repercussions from this. People who saw them in the movie theaters really enjoyed them because the people who stayed at home and watched it on HBO Max, they didn't get the whole movie. Part of the movie experience is hearing a sound the way it's meant to be, watching it on a larger-than-life screen, and that, like, there's something about, like, getting ready and going to the cinema or going to the theater, getting your popcorn, sitting down, that makes it a more enjoyable experience, and that's been left on the cutting room floor, for lack of a better term, in these dual releases or HBO Max releases. So I'm not a fan of them, to be honest, and I'm hoping they end sooner than later.
Yeah, I quite understand. I mean, that audio, being part of that audience reaction when it comes to you know, like you said, comedies and everything, laughing along with an unknown amount of people that be in that auditorium. And I mean, around here, some of the theaters are still closed in my local area, so we didn't really have the option to go anywhere. But I would have to say is like my wife and I always had that argument. She's like, why would I want to go spend that much money and go? I mean, and sit in the auditorium and I can see it like on And I try to tell her, I'm like, honey, going to the movies, it reminded me the first time that you and I held hands going to the movies
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
and those memories, taking my kids the first time to go see Star Wars when Episode 1 came out in 3D. That was their first theatrical feel of a Star Wars movie before the sequel trilogy came out. And that feeling, I know how my mom felt taking me to go see those movies, even though it was a child of the 80s and I was just, I think maybe an infant when the Episode 4 came out. But, I mean, now I know how that feels, that parents sharing that emotional attachment to something they love and they love doing, and that and carrying that on. I absolutely love that. I mean, I told you, I don't know if you had seen the what I had wrote on Twitter, but how I asked everybody the question, what was your favorite movie memory in the theater? And mine's will always be, and I'll take it till the day I die, my mom leaning over to me at the end of Superman. I think it was Superman 2, when Christopher Reeve would look at the camera, break the fourth wall, and smile at you. And she said Superman smiled at you. And for a little boy, that's a big freaking deal, man. First and foremost, being the most iconic superhero who ever been created, and you being a little, maybe about 4 or 5 year old, looking up at this big giant screen, which the theater that I was in was a very, very huge theater, and you got Superman smiling right at you, and you think you're the only person he smiled at. My mom just, it's one of the most sweetest moments. My mom, I miss her to this day, and I do get a little choked up still thinking about it. And it's been maybe 40 something years ago now. But it's moments like that that matter when it comes to being in the theater.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. For me, I have so many memories of in house, like in sitting in the seats, and iconic moments, through film. The one that really jumped out to me, and it's, I don't know if it's a good thing or it's a bad thing because it was so recent, but and it doesn't help my case about the big blockbusters. And those are not the movies that you need to always like or only see in theaters. But in Endgame, when this is the most recent and most precious in my memory. In Endgame, when Cap catches Moldier, and
Yep.
the theater turned into a football stadium, and some people will get upset with that. Right? Yep. Like, I don't want to hear everyone screaming. Well, it's like, no, you don't understand. It's not a single person wasn't. So you're not making anyone mad.
I mean, that's 10 years of build-up and anticipation, all wrapped up into one little moment and one little scene that just, to hear the words, Avengers Assemble in a Marvel movie, period.
Yeah.
And it being Captain America holding Thor's hammer, I mean, no high can be any better. I mean, I was going to even mention this before you did, and I'm so glad you pointed that out, because that was a summer tradition for me and my family to go check out a Marvel movie during the summer after school got let out, and that was a tradition. And knowing that, well, maybe that the tradition may not stay up as much as we would want it to, because. But that right there, that's that build up, that big giant payoff, and God, that you're right. That is one of was it the best film in the world? No, but it gave you those big moments, those fan moments that right there and then like that'll be all that you're a part of that moment that will be forever remembered, even after you're gone.
Remarkable to be a part of, and I was lucky enough to see it a couple days early in a special premiere IMAX screening in North Reading, and North Reading has it's a Massachusetts theater. It's a standalone theater, standalone IMAX, one screen, fit probably 450 people in the auditorium. The screen is bigger than the Green Green Monster at Fenway Park.
Oh my gosh.
In terms of height, and it's one of the there's 10 theaters in the world now mind you, in the world that have the capabilities that it has. And when you see a movie there, it'll remind you you'll never want to go home and watch a movie ever again.
Yeah.
I can promise you that. There's one in LA, there's one in Abu Dhabi, there's one in New York City, and then there's one in North Reading, Massachusetts, which is this back alley town. And luckily it's in my backyard, pretty much. But I'm a regular at that IMAX, and I ended up being asked to partake in a week early screening, and it was really it was true. Like I said, it was one of the most amazing moments to be a part of. When you hear 450 people screaming at the top of their lungs because of that fan service, because of that moment, and because of 10 to 12 years of built up waiting or wondering. It was just, like I said, it brings a smile to my face whenever I see those videos on YouTube or Twitter, when you hear the audience react, and then you read the comments, and some people are like, yeah, well, they shouldn't be yelling in the theater. It's like, well, then you're missing the point. You're missing the point of that community experience. And none of that theater, what I like about it is all those people in one room, in one theater, it'll never, ever happen again. All those people will never be in a room all together ever again, but we will all share that one experience together.
Yep.
And that makes me smile.
I can remember when The Force Awakens came out, and that scene where Finn and Rey are running, and Finn's pointing to something and says, what about that? She says, that thing's a piece of garbage. It never flew. And then they're like, okay, we got to take the piece of garbage. And they're running, and then it's the Millennium Falcon. People are clapping. How often do you hear clapping in a theater? I mean, I can only remember maybe two handful of times in my entire life. People clapping, and it was for the Millennium Falcon because, again, I will give J.J. Abrams, I don't think he's the greatest storyteller, but he does know moments, because he's from television, and moments count in television, and he really was able to pick that moment to introduce the Millennium Falcon, and he had it had this drape over it, but you knew that iconic look, and you're like, it's there. What's it doing there? And then, of course, you get the explanation. And then when, Solo and Chewbacca aboard the ship and everything, though we've seen that scene so many times on the trailers and stuff, again, people were cheering, we had a small cheer and the claps and everything, and applause, there's Han Solo. He's older.
Yeah.
Not wiser, but he's a little older, a little greasier, a little grittier, and but he's there, Let's cherish that, and celebrate.
So the first movie I ever saw in theater was I could be wrong about this, honestly, because this is the first movie I ever remember seeing in theaters. I could have been there before that. I just don't know. And I saw the original Pokemon movie in theaters. I'm 28 years old, dating myself a little bit, but it was the first movie that I remember, going to the ticket booth and buying a ticket. Not for me, me and my cousin, who was a little bit older. He bought the tickets, but that was the first time I remembered it. And I sat down in the theater and experienced the movie, and it was at that moment that I fell in love with the feeling it gave me. Whether it was a sad feeling, a happy feeling, excited, laughing, crying, yelling, whatever it may have been. I fell in love with how a movie could make you feel different things. Throughout 2 hours, it made you feel multiple different emotions. And, not much can do that to you.
Yeah.
Not much does that to me, I should say. Allows me to feel happy or sad or anxious or angry, all in a 2-hour span, So I think a good movie allows you to feel emotions and get attached to characters, and you want to see what happens next, but you also don't want it to end.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's that intimacy that you get when you're very tied into the reactions with the rest of the audience, and that in the scene in that movie. One of the craziest thing that ever happened. Especially with my brother. Sometimes I had to stop going with movies with my brother because my brother was younger than me, but for some reason he always got me into trouble. It used to, you think it'd be the other way around, but no, I would always get in trouble with my brother. We went to go see the midnight showing, the very first showing of the Blair Witch Project back in '99, and the crowd was so rowdy. Because it was something different, I mean, it was found footage was still kind of a new thing, and my brother and I and another one of our friends, one of his lifelong friends, at the time, we were just now starting to do our thing when it comes to the movies, making our movies, and we were very intrigued by this, and then there was a little static in the air in the theater, and in the auditorium, and somewhere in the part of the movie, the thing got shut off because somebody went and complained. Some Karen went and complained that we were being too rowdy in there, and
did you call her Karen?
huh? Yeah, I called some guy a Karen because he went up, and even back then we had him. He went and just we were being a little loud, and we were enjoying the film. That was the thing. The movie was enjoyable because it was different, and there were some funny points. We were getting a little rowdy, but nothing to where we were cussing or swearing or anything like that. And the guy from the ticket, or the manager or something, he came in, they stopped the movie, turned the lights on and says, listen, you guys got to calm down and then just watch the movie in quiet. And I'm thinking, dude, it's, we're just enjoying ourselves. Nobody's throwing anything. Nobody's, it's just having a real fun time. Horror films, especially something new, a new formula of a horror film, really resonates to people, and they really enjoy it, and then the guy just, the guy was being an arrogant jerk to begin with. He could have come in and calmly talked to us, but he was acting like all, stuck up and more proper, like I'm better than you, and he just started walking away, and he says, this is our final only warning. And my brother just goes, shut up and sell some popcorn. And I just kind of buried my head down and everything. I'm thinking, oh God, we're going to get thrown out. We're going to get the cops and everything. I don't want to deal with the cops. Especially the town that we were in wasn't. I'm going to say this. I was kind of I got in trouble a lot. And Marion County, I kind of, the sheriff of Marion County told me, stopped a bunch of us because we were doing stupid things. I won't get into too much of elaborate details. He says, I don't want to see you in this county again, boy. And I'm thinking, gosh, I just wanted to go to the movies because I was trying to get out of trouble and stuff like that. Trying to, just live a normal, trying to, live the beginning of my 20s, not getting into trouble. But, oh God, I tell you, there's moments like that I really miss, though, when it comes to going to the movies with my brother. Because, my brother, he was a smart ass. He knew how to. My brother could have been a professional wrestler. He could have been one of those guys that could talk and really, control the audience and everything. He had a way with people and really getting people, getting under people's skin. He's really good at that. But it's just again, moments of being in the theater. You just, I mean. You gotta, you can't say there's nothing more great. I can't. There's no alcoholic beverage. There's no drugs or anything like that that can supplement that feeling, being in there and being with other people. I mean, I went to the midnight showing to Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare when it was in 3D, and the atmosphere, thinking at the time we thought it was going to be the last Freddy Krueger movie, and it's going to be part of it's going to be in 3D, and and just the audience, the vibes that I feel from the people, it was just fun moments like that, and I was there with one of my best friends, and his older brother, and a few of the other guys that we kind of hung with a little bit in school, and it was just a really cool, joyous occasion, and it's just moments like that I will always cherish. I remember when Star Trek the '09 film came out. A bunch of us from work, you know, even our boss on our shift, you know, her and her husband went there, and another group of people that we worked with, you know, we were all kind of together, you know, and, you know, it was a nice little fun thing, you know, and we got one of the guys who hated Star Trek, you know, to go with us because he was a big Star Wars fan and only Star Wars fan, and he came out of that going, it wasn't half bad, I liked it, you know, and my brother, you know, my brother was a Star Wars fan, he hated Star Trek, but, you know, when this new one came out, he's like, yeah, man, I didn't mind it either, I loved the beginning of the film.